The concept of esoteric meaning represents, above all, an invitation to live and act subjectively, establishing a constant connection with the soul and the world that surrounds it. This profound connection must manifest internally through actively demonstrated love, constantly radiated wisdom, and the ability to embrace everything that lives and breathes, identifying with it. This is the distinctive characteristic of those who reveal their divine nature as children of God. In this context, there is a desire to emphasize a supported mental approach, a disposition of the mind that can be directed in any direction at will. The mind can exert control not only over its own emotional sensitivity, but also over that of others with whom it comes into contact. Through the power of silent thought, the disciple can bring light and peace to anyone encountered. Thanks to this mental power, one can tune into the world of thought and ideas, discerning and choosing the mental means and concepts that will allow them, as a worker in harmony with the divine plan, to positively influence their environment. This enables them to formulate new ideals with a mental substance that will be more readily accepted by those who live and think in ordinary ways. This attitude of the mind not only grants the disciple the ability to orient themselves towards the world of souls, but also to immerse themselves in a higher sphere of inspiration and light. Here, they can recognize their fellow workers, communicate with them, and collaborate together to fulfill divine intentions. In this way, the mind becomes a powerful tool for connecting with higher dimensions of awareness and actively participating in the manifestation of the cosmic plan. The esoteric sense emerges as a fundamental necessity in the current historical moment, becoming the key to access the new group of world servers. Until aspirants can comprehend and utilize this sense to some extent, they will remain strangers to a higher level of awareness. Without it, the use of spiritual magic will remain beyond their reach, and the instructions they receive will be perceived as theoretical and predominantly mental, rather than translated into tangible practices and experiences. The cultivation of the esoteric sense requires a constant commitment to meditation, especially in the early stages of the spiritual journey. With time and the individual's spiritual growth, the daily practice of meditation will give way to a continuous spiritual orientation. At this advanced stage, meditation, as currently understood and practiced, will no longer be necessary. The detachment between the human being and the forms they use, their personality composed of the physical etheric, emotional, and mental bodies, will become so complete that they will constantly live as a distant observer. From this privileged position, they will guide the activities of the mind, emotions, and energies that make the physical expression possible and meaningful. The first stage of development and cultivation of the esoteric sense consists of maintaining an attitude of constant detached observation. This detachment does not imply alienation, but rather a broader perspective that allows for consciously directing one's energies toward a higher and harmonious manifestation of reality. In this way, the practitioner becomes an active agent in shaping their own experience and contributes to the construction of a higher spiritual world. In our daily existence, we typically live in an objective and external manner, constantly in relation to objects and aspects considered internal, such as emotions and thoughts. However, in relation to the soul, all activities of our personality, including the three bodies, physical, emotional, and mental, are considered external. Emotions and thoughts may be more or less connected to the self, but they do not constitute the self itself, the soul, our true identity. They often overlap with the authentic self, overshadowing and hindering its activities. In fact, emotions and thoughts are in constant flux, in perpetual fluctuation, while only the self remains unchangeable, providing a sense of stability, repose, true security, and permanent reality. The power to live and function subjectively represents something entirely new for us. It is the process of identifying with the soul, once it is recognized that we are neither our body nor our emotions nor our thoughts, and of disidentifying from them. This implies living in communion with the soul in everything that exists, going beyond apparent forms. It involves internalizing our relationships, replacing those based on form with soul-to-soul relationships, and then progressing towards communion with the soul of the world, with God, with the one life. It is an invitation to penetrate beneath or behind external appearances, to see beyond surfaces, and to understand the true spiritual nature of everything. This transformation requires a process of conscious disidentification from what is transient and mutable, paving the way for a deeper and enduring connection with the spiritual essence that pervades all creation. In this way, we are called to live a life permeated with a sense of unity and communion with the soul of the world, embracing the divine dimension that links all souls in a single, harmonious expression of life. Such a change, triggered by the conscious identification with the soul, inevitably leaves a mark on our personal life and that of others. What is realized internally must then manifest externally. The constant contact with the soul translates into a spiritual love that permeates all human relationships and into a wisdom emanating from the vision of reality obtained in the realm of the soul. This wisdom leads to the right sense of values and enlightened perspectives. As within the soul's realm, one is liberated from illusions and ignorance. The soul in this realm is omniscient, and when we are in communication with it, we gradually manifest its powers, qualities, and divine faculties. The quote, "With the force of his thought, the disciple can bring light and peace to all," emphasizes the practical power of those who live inwardly, esoterically. This concept is true because it reflects the reality of the spiritual world, and its strength, being powerful, spreads to all those within its sphere of influence. Inner transformation is not only a personal process, but manifests as a positive impact on others and the world around us. Spiritual love becomes the driving force of every human interaction, bringing with it the light and peace that emerge from the connection with the soul. This transmission of spiritual power represents a tangible contribution to the elevation of collective awareness, creating an environment permeated with wisdom and love. Every time we strive to enlighten others, to share what we have learned and assimilated, we engage in an act of translation. We take what has been received, enrich it with our life experiences, and transmit it to others. However, sometimes this process can be distorted or influenced by our emotions or misunderstandings. It is a journey in which we seek to overcome challenges related to our humanity, constantly working to make our sharing clearer and more authentic. Group work emerges as more effective than individual work for various reasons, and is destined to prevail in the new era. To make it effective, it is essential to recognize our fellow travelers based on mutual internal affinity. We cannot select our collaborators based solely on personal levels, where numerous obstacles of emotional nature, illusion, and confusion exist. Instead, we must orient ourselves towards the world of souls, and, in the light of the soul, identify our true companions so that, united, we can work and serve. The quote, "To cultivate the esoteric sense, meditation is necessary." Indeed, in the early stages, continuous meditation emphasizes the importance of eliminating disturbing external impressions and turning decisively towards the inner world. Our condition in this new environment is comparable to that of a newborn. We have all the sense organs healthy and normal, but we must learn to use them. In meditation and silence, we seek to enter our inner world. Initially, we may succeed in controlling emotions and the mind, but we realize our inexperience in this new world where everything appears vague and undefined. We feel powerless, like newborns just arrived in a world where everything is to be discovered and understood. To immerse ourselves and live in this unfamiliar sphere of existence, it is imperative to remain extremely vigilant and awake, observing carefully. We must cultivate the ability to be silent, listen, and observe attentively. Perseverance is essential to accustom ourselves to this new state. Initially, we tend to seek external support because we are not accustomed to living subjectively. However, with constant practice, the mind calms down, freeing itself from fear and the instinctive need to cling to something. With joy, we discover that we can live subjectively, truly detached from everything that constitutes our lower physical, emotional, and mental world. It is necessary to explore this new way of living calmly, harmoniously, without tension, with interest, but an emotionless interest, to seek and observe what arises from it. The process invites us to become aware of what we truly are without the support of any external object, to consist in the self, in pure being. Gradually, we realize that this is the only true support, the solid foundation, and the perennial source of life and resilience within ourselves, while all other supports prove to be illusory, false, and unstable. One after another, they slip away, leaving us tired, dissatisfied, defeated, and disappointed. In a world that often seems to be an illusion, individuals and nations seek security and stability. With the development of the esoteric sense, our lives undergo a true transformation. The river water always flows, but the bed on which the river runs remains still. This image illustrates subjective life, representing the beginning of the esoteric sense. Like water flowing ceaselessly, subjective life is a continuous evolution and discovery, while the riverbed represents inner stability, the unchanging awareness that sustains this dynamic flow.